Huh. All right, just give me a sec. Give me a sec. I'm not in high school anymore. Oh. Did you stretch? You a big stretcher? It's so good for you. You ready?
Spider-Man Brand New Day is directed by Destin Cretton and written by McKenna and Erik Sommers. The film stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Sadie, Batalon, John Bernthal, Florence, Pugh, Tramell, Tillman, Marisa, Tomei, and Ruffalo. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, a forgotten Peter Parker lives alone as a full-time Spider-Man until mounting pressure triggers a dangerous change and a powerful new enemy emerges. Spider-Man is considered one of, if not the best superhero of all time. He's usually within like the top 3. It's kind of like a back and forth debate of whether Batman is the best, Superman is the best, or Spider-Man is the best. I always kind of feel like Spider-Man still beats Superman ever so slightly even more. Batman, it's still kind of debatable, but for the most part, usually he's in, at the very least, top 3 superheroes of all time. Nobody's ever going to debate or argue with that. Even before the MCU, his name alone was money printing machine for good reasons. I'm not a massive Spider-Man fan. I enjoy Spider-Man here and there. I enjoy some aspects of the character, whether it be his relatability senses that a lot of people gravitate towards, or his rogues gallery, or his power sets, or the sort of stories that different comic book writers put him in, with comic book artists just bringing this character to life on the pages. I mean, there is something inherently special with Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, that everyone just somehow gravitates towards, and that's really thanks to Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. Okay, they are the 2 men that are responsible for what is essentially a hero that everyone to this day loves. Whether it's the comics, cartoons, games, or films, Spider-Man has and still is a superhero that everyone just automatically loves. Everyone has a version of Spider-Man that people just gravitate towards and just hold dearly as being their favorite version of this character. Narrowing to just his films, okay, because that's what I am. I'm only narrowing down to his movies. People enjoy the Tobey Maguire trilogy. Like, most people my age love his trilogy, especially even the 3rd movie, even though I thought most people think that that's a disappointing end to his trilogy. But still, people my age find memes and find enjoyment out of that, to where it's just, to a lot of people, a quote-unquote good trilogy for superhero films, but I mean, that's still kind of debatable if you want to talk about it. And even said with Maguire Spider-Man, I have always really liked him, but I'm just saying that a lot of people still have this sort of debate on who's considered the best live-action version of Spider-Man. To Andrew Garfield's duology, because yes, they rebooted the character after Sam Raimi's trilogy had then completed, bringing in Andrew Garfield, but then by the 2nd movie, it did not do well critically and commercially in terms of even what audiences were saying, and how Sony was trying to rush to just pretty much make a Sinister Six solo movie, or at the very least build up to a Sinister Six, instead of actually, making a good Spider-Man movie. Yeah, they pulled the plug, and unfortunately Andrew Garfield just never had the chance to finish out his trilogy and to leave a huge impact in the sense of how his trilogy would have stacked against somebody like Tobey Maguire's, or now Tom Holland's version. So he's kind of been really now beloved by fans, people my age as well, that have come around on him and now started to love him. And then, like I mentioned, Tom Holland's Home trilogy, which started with Homecoming all the way up to No Way Home. This is the MCU's version of what they wanted to do with Spider-Man from his years in high school all the way up to the end of that into adulthood. With this setting Peter Parker back to being a street hero vigilante, because as we all remember, at the end of No Way Home, Doctor Strange cast a spell, made everyone forget Peter Parker in order to save not only just their reality with the multiverse, but also just as a way of helping out Peter when everything was just kind of crumbling around him. That was just the only way to wipe the slate clean and get him pretty much back to what most people love about him, which is he's a street level hero. Bringing in director Destin Cretton of Shang-Chi and Wonder Man fame was a really good choice to get for the webhead. I have enjoyed Shang-Chi. I think it is easily one of the best post-Endgame movies for me, and Wonder Man, that is by far the best MCU Disney Plus show. That show is just well crafted, well written, and well performed by all the actors involved, and it's really because of Destin Cretton and his involvement that really made those two so successful in the sense of critically and commercially with audiences that people really wanted to see what he could do now with Spider-Man. Overall, having now seen this film, I will say, like the previous films, it's another solid outing for Spider-Man. I really personally enjoyed this movie. I thought this really gave what I think most people have been craving for with this character and what people have been wanting to see the webhead finally be able to do in terms of having a cloth suit or being on his own, doing the stuff, not having any sort of Avengers backup or Tony Stark to kind of rely on. He is completely isolated, all by himself, 24/7 Spider-Man. Though it trips up in a few areas for me personally, there are some key areas here that I feel like a bit of a problem or something that could kind of hinder what I think could make this movie even better. Brand New Day manages to stick the landing by the end. I still am very excited to see where they go with Tom Holland and what they want to do with Spider-Man going forward for his new trilogy. So with that, here are now the positives. Performances are exciting. The cast, particularly Holland, Zendaya, Sink, and Bernthal, bring the heart, humor, and intensity to this next chapter of Spider-Man, pleasing every fan alike to love. I agree with a lot of critics that are saying that this is probably the best Tom Holland has ever been playing Spider-Man. He feels so confident. He feels like he is just so in his element. He feels so assured that he is somebody who really loves his character and really wants to please every fan out there and to do right by them. And you can really feel it in his performance, in the way in which he is trying to deliver a guy who is really dealing with a lot of personal issues with regards to how to balance out being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But the problem is he's focusing too hard on being Spider-Man and not enough on Peter Parker. And with that, you have this sort of inner struggle within him of, should I be full on focused on being Spider-Man, or can I still have a life as Peter Parker? And that's kind of what the movie is looking for. It's the idea of the two identities, the two halves of what makes this character so fascinating to a lot of people and so relatable, is the sense of, can you find the balance within yourself, be both? And this movie does it, and really, Holland, he sells it. I have always enjoyed Zendaya as MJ, although I still think that the reason why they never went with the whole Mary Jane Watson thing, I don't care if people are going to say, well, it's the multiverse, they can change things. You all know why they didn't go with that, and I still think it is so fucking dumb. But otherwise, Zendaya, I've always enjoyed her, and here I think she improves upon what I think is really fascinating to see a character like this who has no memory of her past with Peter Parker at all, completely erased, only has memories of Spider-Man and being there for her, but nothing else. And to watch her show how she's moved on and try to kind of have a life for herself along with Ned, you can really feel the energy in the sense of how this character is really trying to find something within herself that feels like she knows who Spider-Man is, but she can't quite get the sense of, why do I feel like I should be moving on, but yet I'm still hung up on this one thing? It still kind of bothers me. Batalon, he is always entertaining, he's charming, he's likable. I can't get enough of him as Ned, and I personally would like to see more of him still continue on in this new trilogy. Now, Sadie Sink, I'm not going to go fully into full spoilers because, again, the movie's still fresh and new, and people have not had the chance to see it, so I'm not going to say who she's playing. All I am saying is that, man, to go from Stranger Things to now this, I think this worked out in her favor because she is playing a character that is so fascinating to watch and is one to look forward to in the future, and her sort of interactions with Spider-Man, it's really fascinating and very heartfelt because of the conversations that they have. And Sadie Sink, she was really excellent. Jon Bernthal, I know I have my issue coming up in the negatives with regards to Punisher, hold that thought, but I'm kind of surprised that they were able to find a way to have him in here and be part of the wider MCU without having to really go full on Punisher. They found the right balance to where he's still a gritty, psychopathic lunatic, but he's not like murdering dozens of people left and right, and you're just seeing like him just beating up and battering people or just slaughtering people. He's just really sticking to what works for this movie in particular, and I'm okay with that. And I think Jon Bernthal and Tom Holland, they have great chemistry with each other. Of course, they know each other for a very long time, but both as Spider-Man and the Punisher, I like their dynamic in the film. And it's really true on what they said with their relationship, in that it feels like a brother relationship, little brother and big brother, and how they kind of have this whole bickering back and forth. I really love that. The direction is lively. Director Destin Cretton brings the energy and style of Spider-Man to life, feeling more of the traditional aspects of what the character is. This is what a lot of people have been wanting for, and it has been kind of the biggest criticism that a lot of people have had with the home trilogy with John Watts at the helm. Was a lot of people felt like it was missing some of the charm and personality of what Spider-Man is, in the sense of how he web slings around and how the camera movement follows him and how it handles action sequences. Destin Cretton, he covers all those bases, and he does it with flying colors. The guy understands what makes Spider-Man so versatile and just athletic and very nimble on his feet. He is very quick on making sure that the camera is staying focused on how he web slings around, how he contorts his body, how he flies across the city through his web shooters. It's really cool. It's awesome. He, I think, is easily one of the other comic book directors out there that I think can understand a character and what makes him so fascinating. The action is thrilling. Seeing Spidey swinging, fighting, and webbing was really fun and stellar to see be implemented, leaving a huge print for what fans, again, like I said, they've been wanting to see Tom Holland do all the cool things that Spider-Man can do, because again, like I said, the home trilogy had criticisms with that, and here they took what was used in, surprisingly, the Insomniac games and used it in this movie. And I think that was probably the best choices they could do. And the fact that they also had Jackie Chan's stunt team work on this movie, I thought was actually really cool. And I think really helps elevate this movie to how it showcased Spider-Man healing enemies and how he's able to put them out of commission or web them up. I think it works out very well for what this movie has to offer. And it's able to really pave a new path for the webhead to really showcase more of those thrilling sequences that we all hope can be accomplished. The story is investing. Seeing Peter tackle a new foe along with his new mutation isolation was emotional and tense as it goes on, giving fans what they wanted to see in the MCU. Now that Peter Parker has been stripped away of all the things that people were having problems with regards to him relying on Tony Stark's tech, or the fact that he is able to take on much bigger scale things, the fact that they were able to kind of shrunk it down after the last movie, and now he's primarily a street hero. A lot of fans are very happy by that, and I'm here to report that's what this feels like. It feels like classic Spider-Man that people have been excited to see, and it plays out very well. And to see the kind of struggle that Peter is going with not just having to be Spider-Man, but having to kind of come to the realization that whole isolation is what's keeping him from feeling complete. It feels like he's missing a piece of himself because he's so dedicated to being a hero that he's willing to just let Peter Parker pretty much not exist for a lot of people and not interact with anyone. He's just by himself 24 hours just being Spider-Man. And I do like the idea of his mutation, the fact that it's kind of playing off of almost being like X-Men, but of course he's not a mutant. It's just more so just a DNA change in the way in which he's able to be more stronger, powerful. It's awesome to see how much Destin Cretton, but really how Erik Sommers and Chris McKenna were able to really take the best elements of Spider-Man stories and make them truly something special for MCU fans to be happy about. The music is solid. Returning and frequent composer Michael Giacchino brings the excitement and depth to Spider-Man than ever, allowing the score to bring weight throughout. Michael Giacchino is easily, again, one of those composers that you just would not have thought was working on a movie, and then you see his name in the end credits and you're like, God damn it, man. you're constantly working and you're constantly doing all these movies and you're doing a damn good job. This guy understands what makes Spider-Man's heroic themes and the little motifs that are sprinkled throughout the movie work so well. He gets the emotion, he gets the depth of what makes this character so likable and lovable in so many ways. And it's awesome to see that Michael Giacchino, after having done the home trilogy and some previous other Marvel movies, I'm just happy to see him still continuing to have that great relationship and show us what makes him such a good composer for superhero movies and just movies in general. He's just awesome at it. The pacing runtime is steady. Scenes would feel right while never feeling rushed or dragged out. With a runtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes, it went by quick. I never thought this movie really dragged on and was able to kind of carry itself without having to feel like it's now having to rush through a bunch of stuff. It feels evenly paced and kept it going all the way towards the end, which I can appreciate, especially in superhero movies these days. I'm really happy to see that a movie like this just knew what it was. The writing is effective. Writers McKenna and Sommers adds turmoil, humor, and tension with character interaction, allowing for moments to really stand out. Like I said, McKenna and Sommers dig deep into these newer versions of these characters, or rather, now that the spell has affected people and MJ and Ned not remembering Peter Parker and only knowing Spider-Man, just seeing Peter Parker having to really grapple with that choice, that feeling, the effect of it, and how it hurts him on how he cannot bring himself to be in his friends' lives, and how he's missed so much just because of the fact that he would rather keep them at a safe distance and making sure that they are completely safe from harm and continue to be Spider-Man without having to feel like he needs to be back into their lives being Peter Parker. And I think that really works for what the character is at this moment, in this stage in life. And again, all the actors just play off of it so well that it just comes together nicely. The production is amazing. Seeing props, costumes, and sets shows the hard work that everyone brought to the project, making sure everything was just right for this outing. It clearly shows that Tom Holland and company really wanted to make sure that they had the things that fans have been wanting, like an actual practical suit. I will agree is probably the best Tom Holland suit that we have seen, and I hope it continues to be the suit that he continues to wear, because I will agree, the common complaint from the home trilogy is that he wore too many suits. It's fine to have like 3 or 4. It's another when he's going through like 5, 6, 7 of them. And so with this movie, he is wearing that suit completely for the rest of the movie, and honestly works out well for this film, as well as just some of the props and sets that they use, and how they are able to give you the feeling of New York in a way where it does feel lively and it has this sort of little community to it. That's what makes it such a small scale film, but with big stakes. And I'm really happy to see that this movie is able to implement the things that fans have been kind of wanting to see and kind of improve upon that. And I'm really happy that everyone involved, but really from Destin, Cretton, and Tom Holland, they really want to do it for the fans, and they delivered. All of it is here for this to be perfect, but there are some issues that hold me back from loving it. And I wish it wasn't true, but I just can't help but feel like there are some minor parts that sure people won't be bothered by, but man, they kind of hurt for me. So now here are the negatives. The Punisher subplot is questionable, while his involvement was enjoyable, and there is nothing completely wrong with having him in this movie and be toned down. That's not my problem. It's now, though, showcasing an era within the character, and I feel like if unchecked, this could be a problem. And my problem, and again, it is not a spoiler because it's not revealing character motivations or anything like that. I am just simply saying my biggest issue, and it's been there since his One Last Kill special that he did, is that he is able to get into places. He is able to just maneuver and go out in broad daylight and do all these things, yet cops ain't looking for him. And this becomes a problem because if this is a guy who still is a fugitive of the law and becomes a problem, cops ain't gonna do nothing. I get that people are like, well, they're handling much bigger things. Okay, but you're not going to address the psychopath that's also getting involved in this? No, no one. Spider-Man works with law enforcement. Punisher doesn't work with law enforcement. Like, he could care less if they get in his way. He won't kill them, but he will push them or do whatever he can to get the job done by murdering the person that he's targeting. So the fact that he is able to get in and out of places easily, scot-free, or not showcasing how he's able to kind of maneuver all that, that's going to become an issue further down the line if they continue to not really keep that in check and make sure that Punisher is still a fugitive. He's not a hero, he's a fugitive. The visuals are inconsistent. At times, the effects can look very good. Okay, they can. And other times, they were not, leaving things really obvious. And while I praise the production, and I do, there's just certain shots and certain parts of the movie where some of the visual effects just do look like they were undone, or they just really feel like video game graphics. Like I said, the swinging motion and everything, looks beautiful. As much as I do think it's cool, the montages are very apparent on how they really utilize the effects, and they're just not good. Okay, I just gotta be honest. So it just kind of feels like everything's very inconsistent with itself. With all the elements here, Spider-Man Brand New Day gives fans what they've been asking and waiting for. It offers to tap into the classic aspects of the webhead while still making it exciting to see. Though the Punisher's subplot and visuals are a mixed bag for me, it's a great outing for Holland Spidey that gets fans to see what's next for Peter Parker. In the end, I think people are going to be excited to see what comes next for Peter. And yes, I know that there are some reports about, like, oh, he's going to appear in Secret Wars and all that stuff. We don't know. But all I know is that wherever Tom Holland goes with Peter Parker, fans will always be there to show up. Let me tell you, this weekend, yeah, it really did show up. I won't go further into that. I'm going to give Spider-Man Brand New Day 8 out of 10. This movie was a great time to see Spider-Man just do what he can and just give us some fun, some nice, good superhero action to be had with this. A lot of heart and humor to it. And Destin Daniel Cretton, if he wants to do more, that's fine. Still want more Shang-Chi too, but still, I think the guy understands Spider-Man, and Holland still continues to prove why people love him as Spider-Man. And people will continue to love him no matter what. And I'm very happy for him and Zendaya. So I will be soon doing a review, and unfortunately I had to switch it. I did post on the channel of the mix-ups of the dates, and even on my Instagram, you guys. I'm very sorry, but yes, the next movie is going to be The End of Oak Street and then Tony. Apologies for that. So yes, look forward to that review and other reviews coming soon.